And later in the week, the president will hold a town hall to talk about his gun control push. Here with reaction, the host of Dana on the Blaze, Dana Loesch, is back with us. Fox News contributors Kirsten Powers, former NYPD Detective Bo Dietl. Kirsten, I'll start with you because you're on the other side of the aisle, but I consider you fairly intellectually honest. We disagree on
Fairly?
Yeah, you are. You actually are very honest. Here's the problem.
Thank you.
When you go back, we have co-equal branches of government. We have separation of powers. We have a president that said 25 times he did not have the authority to do what he later did on immigration. He did it anyway. He didn't respect the rule of law. Now he can't get done legislatively what he wants to get done with guns. He's going to use executive actions. I would think that you would want him to go through Congress, go through the process, respect other branches of government. True or false?
Well, yes, except for the fact that there's the idea that he's going to somehow go through Congress and get anything's going to happen on gun control is absurd.
But that doesn't give him the right to just write laws himself, does it?
Well, okay, let's just back up, though. The president does have the right to do executive actions in some circumstances, so let's not suggest that he never has the ability, the legal authority to do these kinds of things. I think the issue specifically with the gun issue is that you don't like what he's doing. Even if the idea that if somehow there was a Democratic Congress and he did this with Democratic Congress that you would be supporting it, I don't think so, Sean.
What do you think, Dana?
Well, I find his whole stance to be entirely inconsistent. It's really hard to take seriously a president who has all of this rhetoric about gun control when just this past November, this administration, the Department of Justice, and the Prison Bureau decided to go ahead with this early release program of thousands of felons, many of whom were violent, some of whom had also additional firearms charges, convictions for this. These are repeat offenders, and this is the biggest driver of gun homicides. You have repeat offenders. You have gang violence. So it seems inconsistent to me. I can't take it seriously.
Oh.
You know, you're right on with that. And he's such a hypocrite in the sense what's gone on in Chicago with the illegal guns on the street. Why isn't he doing executive orders about the shooting of our young kids, our young minorities, and all these Democratic controlled? The best gun laws in the country are in all these cities, and all the illegal guns are out there. Make an executive order there to enhance and get those guns off the street. That's what he should be doing, because we know the safest towns, like in Texas, there are towns in Texas where people can carry guns. Crime is down to nothing. And America, first of all, I think is 109 out of 230 countries around the world as far as what gun violence goes. We're not at the top the way people really want to believe it.
You know, let me ask this, Kirsten, because Josh Earnest was asked this before the new year. And it's really simple. Anything that the president talked about, people on no-fly lists not having the right to buy guns, can you name one recent example of a shooting where anything that the president proposed would have saved lives? Because I can't, and neither could they.
No, I don't think we can, but that doesn't mean that we don't need to do these things. That doesn't mean we don't need to have expanded background checks is something that the majority of the country overwhelmingly supports. So I don't think that means that he shouldn't do that. And that is really fundamentally probably the core of what he's going to do. And it's not outside of the normal. But people
this is a perfect
support.
example.
But let me just ask you. I'm just interested with you guys. You're all conservatives, I guess.
No,
I'm an
independent.
Is there anything? Hold on, let me finish. Is there anything that needs to be done to deal with gun violence in this country?
Yeah,
because you guys are talking. You just said there was no problem.
No, you don't have to be done. Let him make an executive order to put more people on the streets in Chicago, in Baltimore, in Washington, D.C., cities where our youth is being killed out there. Let him do an executive order also.
I have an answer to that. I have an answer to that.
Guys, hang on.
Very simple, easy answer.
Hang on. Let's go one at a time.
Obamacare. Your Obamacare is going to be wiped out within the next year. This is a perfect example of this president going awry.
A couple of things. We have the expanded background checks. We had the expanded background checks in California. We had the expanded background checks in Colorado. We had the so-called expanded background checks in Oregon as well. We had all of these in these areas, in Connecticut as well, so that's already failed. But the biggest driver, in fact, the biggest thing that you could do to change this, first off, is let's reform the justice system. Let's stop reducing sentences. In St. Louis, there was the case. Vonderett Myers should have been in jail. His life would have been saved if we had not reduced his bail and he had been out on just $1,000.
Listen, if I was in a situation like those poor people in San Bernardino, I would want a Bo Dietl in that room that had a weapon, could have saved some lives. All right, thank you all for being with us.